everybody. It's good to see everybody here. SASM 6100 Leadership Seminar and Athletic Administration. Doc Shirley, great to see you. And, for those of you that may not know me, I'm Matt Cacciato. I am the director of the MSA program and also executive director of the AECOM Center for Sports Administration. The best part about tonight is I won't be saying much at all, but I do want to just tell you what an awesome year it's been for me personally with all the trials and tribulations of these challenges that are upon us. I got to spend a lot of time with Doc. We tried to figure it out together. I think we did a pretty good job most of the time. And for someone that's not a grad of the program, to spend that time has just been awesome. Something I'll never forget. And again, we really formed a great bond. And Shirley and I share the same birthday, so I feel like I'm as close to the Higgins as anybody. But we're going to get on with the show. I'm going to introduce Dr. Jim Strode, who is our department chair in the Department of Sports Administration. He's going to talk a little bit about what we have in store for you tonight. But thank you all for tuning in and for being here again. The students wanted to have one more final class with Doc during finals week, and that's what we're looking forward to. So, Dr. Strode.
Awesome. Thank you, Matt. Okay, so don't blame me. Don't blame this guy. I'll introduce who you can blame here in a couple of seconds. But tonight's a special night, obviously, to celebrate your 50th year teaching. Shirley, so great to see you. I know that you're a big part of that. We're going to hopefully roll out the red carpet for you tonight, sort of a This Is Your Life game show. And in all honesty, there's a million people that we could probably pack into Peden Stadium to share kind words about, your teaching. We could call it Chuckapalooza, and it could be 3 days, right? But tonight we're going to focus on, Pat, Matt. Tonight we're focusing on our distinguished alumni, right? Our distinguished alumni are going to say how you have impacted them and their lives. So before I begin, a couple of quick ground rules. All of our distinguished alumni who are logged in online, we ask that you stick to about 1 minute because we have a good number of people that want to make sure that they get their words in. Also, for those people that may want to share additional memories, we're going to have a way for you to do that by collecting some stories and some memories for you, Doc. So without further ado, I do also want to thank Michael DePiro for all your support, Justin Brodsky, awesome MSA class, and the MBA class as well. But please join me in welcoming the person you can blame for tonight, our MSA program director from 1995 to 2005, department chair from 2012 to 2013, 1980 MSA alum, 2014 distinguished alumnus, and he brought a few friends with him. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Andy Kreutzer.
Well, that's what we said about this program. That he should have listened to his first thoughts when he turned me down the first time I applied, and then had a weak moment and let me in the second. So first, Doc, thank you. That's all I can say. Not really, because you know me and you know there's more coming. But your impact on my life and the lives of Barbara, Kirsten, and Laura are unparalleled. Continue to be greater than words can express, but words will have to do. You retire after 50 years of teaching, a half a century. And you look, and it's wonderful, but the irritating thing is you look exactly like you did when I got here 40 years ago, and I look like I'm 5,000 years old. I just don't understand that. Most of that time you've spent leading our program. And if you have said and if you have demonstrated and taught us all, our family, not our program. You're the principal source of our culture. And I can't memorize my own name anymore, so you excuse me for going. you know what, is anybody, okay, I'm stopping right now, don't arrest. There we go, all right. Back in accordance, okay. You're the principal source of our culture and our shared spirit. The constant thread that we all can and do share. No one has worked harder with greater vision and faith than you and Shirley. And no one is more deserving of a retirement filled with the love and satisfaction of a job well done. And I believe that we all understand and share our responsibility for continuing your legacy. As I've said, there are thousands of us that owe you more than we can adequately convey in words, but you have the love and the understanding and the concern of every graduate who's ever come through the MSA, PMSA, or dual degree programs. And I am so grateful for who you are, who you both are, as a matter of fact, and look forward to staying in touch, because it frightens me to think of Athens, Ohio without Doc Higgins. So in summary, thank you again, that no one has had a greater impact on our lives than you and Shirley. And I'm so grateful. Thank you.
Good evening, Doc and Shirley. It's Jackie Rowe from Cincinnati. I send you warm greetings. It's an honor to receive the prestigious award in your name this year, and I look forward to it. And I just really want to say thank you for making Ohio University's sports administration program #1 in the world for all these years. And I wish both you and Shirley a wonderful retirement. Best of luck.
Thank you, Jackie. Shirley, Doc, great to see you. Happy to be here tonight, honoring the legend that you are. And I just wanted to say a few quick words of my distinct memories of Doc. I think it started when I was an undergrad at Michigan State with Tracy, who I see here, and Greg Ianni as well, who both just really spoke your name in Legends terms as I was thinking about what I wanted to do after undergrad. And it was because of the way in which they held you in such high honor that I remember applying to the program and then hearing all the stories about how intimidating you were leading into my interview. And my surprise going through my interview with you, where you were actually the biggest softie. I don't know if you were just in a good mood that day or what, but I think you asked me some kind of softball question like what I wanted to do in the industry. From that day on, I just always felt a strong connection with you. And I remember during my time in the program, you always just being available for advice and feedback and consultation and giving me some really important life lessons to just make sure I explored all sides of the industry, that I focused on working with good people just as much as I focused on identifying the right opportunities, and that I ultimately made sure I really embraced and leaned into my curiosity to learn as much about the industry as I could. So I just want to thank you for all the incredible contributions that you have made. You are synonymous and forever will be with the identity of this world-renowned program. And none of us would be here without you. So thank you so much for everything.
Hi, Doc and Shirley. Wish I could be there. I actually had to really carefully write out some thoughts so that I didn't get teary. I'm just cannot believe that it's been 50 years. Dr. Charles Higgins, AKA Doc, you've been a guiding light to so many over the years. And you and your amazing wife, Shirley, will always have a special place in my heart. Your fatherly reference to me as kiddo never grows old, despite how much gray hair I might have garnered since graduating. I remember the intel I received prior to my interview stage, prior to being accepted. The rumor was that you were tenacious and rigorous, and the interviews were much more like an interrogation that can bring even the most confident prospective students to their knees and make them walk out with a little bit of sweat on their brow and maybe even a tear. That coupled with the fact that some people even subjected themselves to this process more than once if they didn't get accepted. I just couldn't understand it at the time, and it seemed utterly ridiculous. The interview was my first encounter with the illustrious Dr. Higgins. I found you to be quite down to earth and could tell that your passion for the program just by how you articulated information, and let's not forget your legendary hand gestures to really bring a point home. Needless to say, you proved me right throughout my time in Athens. You are indeed a passionate professor and more down to earth than I ever could imagine. You were accessible in a way that made me feel special and that I was part of something truly distinctive at OU. I was part of a special family. From the homemade cookies to the singing at your houses are all special memories that I will cherish forever. Nearly all of my return visits to Athens entailed me staying at La Casa Higgins, which was more love and warmth than any OU inn could ever offer me. The fact that you always provided me with sage advice each time I considered a career transition long after graduation is just a testament to how much you cared on a deeper level and were invested in me and my growth. Even though the 3 Bs of my 1992 class, Bernard, Bruce, and Buzz, still jokingly say that I was one of your favorites. I must admit you did indeed make me feel like it, but I believe you made many students feel that way just because that's who you are. You challenged us, you broadened our intellect, and you infused humor and imparted a spirit in us that we could be anything that we wanted to be in this world. Thanks, Doc. I love you.
Hey, Doc and Shirley, Chad Estes. I'm sitting here in Frisco, Texas, overlooking these beautiful Dallas Cowboys practice fields. And certainly can say directly to you, Doc, that I would not be sitting here right now without your incredible influence. People often ask me, as I'm sure the rest of the group will get asked, you know, how did you get into this industry? And I can remember so clearly a couple of events that happened in my life, starting with playing basketball in the combo and seeing these students that looked a little older, that were well dressed, walking around the convocation center and being intrigued as to who they were, finally asking one of them, and they said, "Oh, we're in the sports administration program." And I wandered over to your office and stepped foot in there, and directly to you, Doc, that I would not be sitting here right now without your incredible influence. People often ask me, as I'm sure the rest of the group will get asked, you know, how did you get into this industry? And I can remember so clearly a couple of events that happened in my life, starting with playing basketball in the combo and seeing these students that looked a little older, that were well dressed, walking around the convocation center and being intrigued as to who they were, finally asking one of them, and they said, "Oh, we're in the sports administration program." And I wandered over to your office and stepped foot in there and said, "What's this all about?" And somebody handed me the alumni book that I paged through, and then realized there's a whole world of combining my enthusiasm for sports and business. And then I met with you and I said, "Well, how do I get into this program?" You said, "Go get an internship." And then I met Jim Kaler, who's sitting behind you, and the rest is history. And without those moments in my life, I would not have had this to date 27-year wonderful career that I'm so thankful for and so appreciative of. And I'll just tell you, and I can say it to Jim sitting behind you as well, is you influencing me then and steering me in a direction for my career, then finding a mentor like Jim Kaler. And for the last 20 years, as I've been in a leadership role, trying to pay that back to people by helping with their careers, because that's what you taught me to do, and Jim did as well. I cannot imagine Ohio University and Ohio Sports Ad without you. And I'll second or third it. You look the same as when I walked into your office, 28 years ago to ask about the program. And so no words can do it justice. I just want to thank you. I'm blessed with this career, and this career started with me stepping foot in your office 28 years ago. Thank you for all you've done for me and for all the other students that can say the same as I just tried to express. You're simply the best. Thank you very much.
Greetings, Doc and Shirley from Atlanta, Georgia. First of all, Doc, congratulations to you and Shirley on what is incredibly a long, illustrious, and what I call a Hall of Fame career. As you'll hear from everyone, we all got our start with you. And I want to thank you personally for the support you've given me, and you continue to give me. As a matter of fact, today I had a conversation with a non-Ohio U alumni, another OU guy named Joe Castiglione, who's the athletic director at University of Oklahoma. And when I told Joe about the fact that you were retiring after 50 years, he said, first of all, tell him congratulations and thank him for the pipeline of people that he sent me over the years. And my guess is there are many ADs out there in the country who could say the same. So that in and of itself, that story tells so much about what you've done for so many people. Doc, I would be remiss if I didn't mention our dear friend Robin Bragg, who also is a distinguished alumni and who we lost just this past couple of months. And it was Robin and Mike Owens and I at Anheuser-Busch working together in the beer business, not the sports business, but it was the Doc Higgins connection that kept us all glued together, as I think many people around the country would say. So with that, I want to wish you and Shirley a blessed and long retirement, and hope to see you down here in Atlanta. Thank you for everything.
Hey, Doc and Shirley, it's Derek Hall here in Arizona. Good to see you both. It is true, you have not aged at all. And I don't agree with everybody that you weren't just really strong and tough in those interviews, because I certainly thought you were. In fact, the first time I met you, you denied my admission into the program. The second time I met you, you told me to come back and try again. And the third time I met you, I was admitted. So thank you for that. I too, I think Chad had said it, I wouldn't be where I am today without you, and really with both of you. I loved seeing you, every time you came down to Vero Beach when I was at Dodgertown or at the winter baseball meetings. It was like a family reunion. But, once we got into the program, all of us felt like we were part of the family. You really took us in. In fact, the first time we came to your house, there was a Mike Tyson fight. And, what do you feed 35 people? Well, Shirley made ham loaf. And for most of us, we had never had ham loaf. And I was scared to try it. And it was like heaven. It was delicious, along with those homemade cookies too. So Shirley, thank you for that. And I could say you weren't always happy with all of us though, Doc. There was a group of us who, as you like to recall, we had wives in the group, some of us, and they would work. Some of them were working all day to put us through school at the bookstore. We had a small foursome, it was myself and Doug Hall and Eric Brumman, and we also had the late Chris Gadsden, who may he rest in peace. But we always tried to avoid seeing you while we were on the golf course after class, because we were supposed to be working, or we were supposed to at least be saving money that our significant others were making for us to go through school. And you always seemed to catch us as you were jogging after school, and you were over the bridge, over the golf course, and you'd stop and give that stern look, and you'd yell, and you always pointed at me and said, "Buddy, you'll never make it," and I thought, boy, I hope he's not right. But once we did, and once we were in the working world, you were something different, because when we were in school, you were our police officer and our judge and jury and our mentor and our teacher and our parent. But once we got into the working world, you became our biggest friend and fan. And I thank you so much. Love you. Congratulations on all your success.
Am I up? Excuse me?
I think they said whoever they kept the video of was Doc's favorite. So I'm still here and I'm.
I'm trying to make this work.
You go, Roger.
Oh, yeah. Here we go. Hey, Doc, let's come here and teach me this stuff. Am I getting help?
Hey, Roger, we can
All right.
hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. Maybe that's for the best, huh? Hey, Doc, this might be a time to air some grievances. I actually left there in 72, but 71 was my education hard year. I went all year long. And in probably 74, we had a big meeting, and I thought I knew quite a bit about what I was doing. And in the meeting, all of the promoters from the Midwest came in, and just to date myself a little bit, the big topic of discussion was what were ticket prices going to be for concerts. And the argument ranged from $5 to $6. And after a day of arguing, we settled on $5.50. That kind of dates me. The second thing that happened, was that me? I think I went live. In the 90s, we built a 20,000 seat amphitheater in Raleigh. And we took a partner who became Live Nation. And one day they walked into myself and my boss's office, and they said, we have sold the naming rights to the building. Doc Higgins, there were no naming rights in the sports administration classes that I took. So I was kind of blindsided, and everybody looked at me and they said, we thought you were educated in this stuff. Well, not so much, but times have changed. I want to thank you and Shirley for everything you've done for me. My wife, Linda, thanks you. Shirley, you're always welcome down here to play golf with the Doc. And I miss you, and I thank you for everything. That should be enough from me.
Am I on?
No.
Am I on next?
You're on, Dean.
Well, thanks, and good afternoon or good evening to everyone from the great state of Missouri, wherever you may be. At the outset, Doc and Shirley, I'd like to say what an honor and a privilege it is for all of us to have had the opportunity to spend a few minutes with both of you today. And being one of the real, I guess I'd call it old timers in the program, I've been thinking back to my first time on campus way back in 1973, which was 48 years ago, hard to believe. And I think back to the outstanding group of professors, Doc, that we had back at that time. Obviously yourself, Doc Stewart, Doc Lavery, Doc Wilkinson, I probably left out one or two, but to think now, to think back on that and realize that you've contributed 50 years of your life to the best sports administration program in the world is really an unbelievable achievement. And in my mind, there's no doubt that in many ways you've defined the program. In some ways, you've transcended the program. And the way I would put it would be, Doc, you are and always will be the program. So I want to wish you and Shirley all the best in retirement. Good luck and Godspeed, good health to both of you. And I also wanted to quickly thank everyone who contributed to the Doc Higgins Scholarship. It was great to see that we surpassed the goal, and I'm sure the program will put it to good use down the road. Thanks and have a great evening.
Now you get to look someone up here. Doc and Shirley, this is from Lou Valentic, class of 79, 1992 Distinguished Alum. Says approximately 43 years ago, April of 1978, I interviewed for the sports ad program at Ohio University. Dr. Higgins led the interview with Dr. Lavery and Dr. Wilkinson and a number of current students on the panel. I don't recall being traumatized from the event, but I do remember Doc's intensity and sincerity for the program. 43 years ago, he cared so much about the program that he wanted to be sure that only the best candidates were selected. Well, he got it right. Well, most of the time anyway. He carried that intensity and sincerity with him his entire career, and he influenced and impacted the lives of hundreds of us along the way. Where would I be without Dr. Higgins and Ohio University? Well, let's just say that I'm happy that it worked out for me. There are no words, Doc and Shirley. You are the best. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
I think I'm up. Hi, Shirley and Doc. This is Diane Engelken Carbray. I'm in Fresno, California, the great state. It's great to see you and congratulations on your 50 years. Can't believe it's 50 years. I echo everybody else that, man, you should look older. But anyway, I'm glad to be able to talk to you. You gave me a chance, despite not being the male variety back then. There was, I believe, one other woman that had come in before me, so I was only the second woman to get accepted. So being from a small town in Kansas, I didn't think I had much of a chance. So I really appreciated it. I just feel so fortunate to have gotten to have a great career in sports and post-game concerts, pro soccer, and then we built a baseball stadium here in Fresno. I couldn't have done any of that without launching the career there at Ohio University. So I just want to thank you and congratulations to you and many more years.
Good evening, Chuck and Shirley. It's Dick Myers calling in from Florida. You know, there are four things. First of all, congratulations on just a wonderful career as an educator and the support that Shirley gave you for those 50 years. It was unparalleled. There are four things that I really have appreciated about my relationship with Chuck over the last 43 years. Number one was all the time and energy and guidance that you, along with Jim and Owen, gave to Andy Dolich, Barry Silverman, and myself when we came to you and said, there's some things as alumni we'd like to see happen. And together we created the Distinguished Alumni Award, the Alumni Board, the Advisory Board, the Symposium, and some other things. And those moments that we shared together in doing that are moments that I've treasured all my life. Also, the wonderful one day in those early years, the one-day symposiums with our alumni board meeting, and then the great banquets we had. And as an example of Chuck's good humor through the years, for 3 years in a row, we nicknamed the big three one year the Huey, Dewey, and Louie of sports administration. The next year, they were the Mo, Larry, and Curly of sports administration. And then the third year, they were the good, the bad, and the ugly. And Chuck, we always knew you were the good. The third thing is, just I've always admired the genuine and gracious way that you have welcomed and embraced every single person that has come through this program, whether you saw them yesterday or 30 years ago. You always made all of us feel like family. And finally, I just appreciate the blessing of your friendship for 43 years. So I want to say that every one of us who has walked through the doors of the sports administration program are forever in your debt, and the sports administration industry is all the better by having you a part of it. God bless you, and many blessings for good health and a wonderful retirement. We love you.
So can you hear me, Doc and Shirley?
Yes. Yes.
Well, Shirley, this is Andy Dolers calling from the Silicon Valley, where I just had a computer hit, if you can believe that, 15 minutes ago. Athens is way ahead of the Silicon Valley. Shirley, I am ecstatic that you finally dropped an underpaid educator who was not your equal to a guy who's got a lot of money and a private jet and big dough that you're sitting next to tonight. So I'm glad you made that decision. Number two, I was looking at the number of years that the speakers have spent in the world of sports. Believe it or not, 565 years of experience for those that have just spoken on your behalf. And the one thing that I know about teamwork, leadership, and trust is it is defined in the two of you. That is teamwork, leadership, and trust. When someone asked Michelangelo, hey, how did you do that statue of David, Mike? And he went, yeah, okay, here's how I did it. I just chipped away. David was inside the stone. I just chipped away all the pieces that weren't David. So you, Doc, and Dr. Mason, Stewart, Lavery, Kreutzer, Wilkinson, Kaler, Cacciato, and others that we've left out, you were the ultimate chippers creating us in the world of sports. And I would just leave you with this. Here's one of my favorite video examples. This is a baseball with a globe on it. Here's a soccer ball. Because of Ohio University, because of you, we have crafted a program that's the best on the face of the globe. And many of us would never be able to properly thank you for taking the criminals that we all were and turning us into contributing members of society. We love you, we'll always love you, and we respect everything that you've done on our behalf. Thank you.
Oh, it's okay. Doc, what a privilege and an honor it is to be here tonight with a couple of my classmates, because we know that you've always said that the class of 81 is the best class you ever had. So I had to get a couple of people here tonight to say thank you. And as I was thinking about what I might say tonight, 50 years. Well, I've had the blessing, the privilege, and the honor of being around you 40 of those 50 years. A lot of times in Cleveland when you'd come up with Pat and you'd be working on that book and everything else. But it seems like yesterday I was in the room interviewing, and it was a room like this over in the Grover, and you had all the candidates. I think we had 24 people that day to interview. And you said, well, we're going to be real diplomatic and we're going to start here and we're going to finish there. Who do you think was sitting in the last seat? So I got up at 6:30 that morning with a seersucker suit on, short swimmer's haircut, ready to kill. And by 7 o'clock, I was back at the hotel. My mom drove down with me and she saw this big body coming over. She goes, what happened to you? You look like somebody just ran over the dog. I think they did. Whoa, what are you talking about? I said, well, these committee's been interviewing 24 people a day for a week. I'm the last interview. They're going to be so brain dead by the time I get to speak. I got no chance. And she said, calm down. Let's go for a walk. Let's go around campus. And then Mike and Pat, you could appreciate this. Some of the other kids that were interviewing that day, they were giving up the questions. He's going to ask you your 3 greatest weaknesses. Well, I get disappointed with myself when I don't reach my goals on time. So I was ready for you until you threw that one curveball at my head, and somehow I got through it. But as we would sit around on campus, we said, wouldn't it be great to come back here someday and have Doc's job? Careful what you wish for, because I've had the good pleasure of being here now close to 16 years. The things that you've done for Katie and I, we love you to death. You are family. You're not going too far. So when you go up to Canton, we'll be following you in a couple of years up in Cleveland. But we look forward to staying in touch, and just want to let you know that we love you both. And I want to bring up Mike. Mike, come on up.
Thank you, Jim. You're just now figuring out the reason why you got in the program was because the committee was brain dead. So then you led the damn thing for years. So great classmate, best class, 81. What an honor and privilege it is to be here 50 years. Wow. I'm sure they asked 7 or 8 other people, couldn't get anybody to come here, so I'm just an hour and a half down the road, so they knew I could drive up to say a few words. But what an honor. And everything I was going to say already has been said, so I was sitting back there jotting notes down, and I wanted to try to maybe use a comparison of Doc. We all have heroes in our life. We all know what a hero is. You know, my hero growing up was my father. My father was a high school football coach, a teacher, became a principal, and then became the head of the high school athletic association for years in West Virginia. And my father, obviously, still alive, 86, just spent the weekend right across the river there in the great state of West Virginia, turkey hunting with him. And he had the biggest impact on my life. My dad was a man of principle. He was a man of integrity. He never compromised. He practiced what he believed in. He was passionate. He was confident. And what you saw was what you got. He was also a hard ass. He was stubborn and he was hard-headed. And I'll be damned if I didn't show up in Athens and I met my second dad. He's sitting right there. And you know, I read all these books about leadership. You know, 31 years as a Division I AD, and the days are getting shorter, the years are getting shorter as we get older, and I read these books about leadership, and that man right there was way ahead of his time about how to be a leader. I read in one book, integrity sustains you. He told me one time, he said, Hamrick, if you do things with integrity, it can sustain you no matter what happens in your career, no matter the good things or the bad things, because you are going to have bad things happen to you in your career. 31 years as a Division I AD, there's been a lot of people wanting to run me out of a lot of towns. But if you do things with integrity, like that man taught me and taught all of us, you can sustain yourself. And each one of you students in here are going to deal with that. Just so happened there was a party somewhere, and I don't know how he got me tied into that party that got a little out of control. And he had a long talk with me one day. Hamrick, you better get straightened up, son. He says, because you got a lot of potential. He says, but potential gets you fired. You know what you think about that? We all have potential in here. And that man knows how to bring it out of you. You know, when I first got here, he was a little, like I said, I thought I was with my dad. And I didn't like my dad at times. When he wouldn't give me the car keys, when I made a bad grade, when I didn't do the chores, he punished me. I didn't like him, but I didn't figure out till later what he was trying to do. And there were times where I didn't like that guy. Right, Jim? Right, Pat? Shaking their head, Doc. But by gosh, we respected him. And we loved him because when we finished here, we had opportunities that we would have never had in our lives because of this university, this program, and that man and the lady beside him who made him what he was and what he is. You know, I got an email to invite me to come here, and beloved professor, mentor, and friend. Yeah, that's what he is. He's beloved, he's a mentor, and he's a friend. He wasn't always that, but he is now. And you people will understand that, and all of us alums have understood that over the years. And he's meant a great deal to me in my career. Every time I come to Athens, Doc and Shirley have their hand out, smiling, welcoming me, interested in what I do, where my career is going. And they'll do the same for you guys. And if you don't think that guy at one time was the most powerful man in sports, then you don't know what you're talking about, because he was. He was. And all those that spent time here, when we went out of here, we knew who Doc Higgins was. And we loved him, and I still love you. And you're my second dad, because you taught me as much as my dad taught me. He calls me in at the end of my third quarter. We were on quarters, and we're trying to get an internship. We're all nervous. He says, Hamrick, I got an internship for you. I thought, well, maybe he'd discuss it with me and give me some options. There were no options. Hamrick, you're going to Las Vegas. Guys, I'm from right over the river in the mountains of West Virginia. I didn't know where Las Vegas was. I used to watch that TV show, Vegas 109 or something. I don't know what it was. You know, I went out there, and 20 years later, they called me back to be the athletic director there. Because he knew where I needed to go and what I needed to be. They say nothing lasts forever. I don't believe that. I promise you, your legacy will last forever with this program. I love you both. Thank you.
Pat, we have two more that just called. Okay.
Hey. Hello. Doc, Shirley, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Well, this is Mike Boykin, and I'm calling you from Isle of Palms, and I miss you. I wish you guys were here with me. And we've heard a lot of great things about you tonight. And I'm here to tell you a quick story because you're also a miracle worker. I don't know if you remember one of your early miracles, but about 40 years ago, this know-it-all from South Carolina landed in Athens, Ohio. And I really thought I knew it all. And after being there a couple of weeks, and Andy Kreutzer, maybe Kaler can confirm this, we were in Dr. Higgins' office and we got into a confrontation. And it was one of my uglier moments. I was a jerk. And Dr. Higgins didn't like it, but he didn't get back, you know, he didn't lose his cool, and he took it as a learning opportunity. And I just remember how it stuck with me that you said, open your eyes, Mike. You may see something great, and it may change your life's direction. And it did, because I just knew I was going to be the AD at South Carolina. Bernard, I was going to be at the other SC. But it was done deal. But Doc Higgins just said, no, you got to listen and learn and see what's out there. And guess what? He was right. And I interviewed and got an opportunity to go to the Spectrum Arena in 1981, the year President Reagan got shot on the Final Four. And I was in the room when they were talking about dual national champions, the Tar Heels in Indiana with Isaiah Thomas. And I got to see revenue optimization like I'd never seen it before. And it just changed my life. I knew I had to go do a lot of things. And I have been so fortunate. We've gotten to see things, do things, and meet people that would have never, ever, ever happened had I not gone to Ohio. And you and Andy in particular, whenever I had important career decisions and I would call you, you know, you always provided great counsel. And I always appreciated it. Andy, you know, same with you, Doc Jr., if you will. But I'm just very, very thankful. It's great to see all these people. 1981 was just, you know, it was the dream team. It must have been. And I just want to thank you and wish you the best. God bless you and Shirley. And if you get lost on your bicycle, come down and see us.
Hey, Doc, I think I'm up. Just wanted to say hello from Palo Alto, and Shirley, great to see you guys. I'm sorry I missed a good portion of these speakers, and I know how they're speaking from the heart. And I will speak just the same. I just left my president a day-long meeting with him, and I said, I've got to go because I only have one boss in my mind, and that's you. And so it's just a thrill to see you, but I just wanted to say thank you for all that you've meant to this program. Gosh, I'm a proud card-carrying member of Ohio Youth Sports Ad, and that doesn't happen if it wasn't for you. And I also want to thank you for just giving me the best classmates a person can have. I'm still in touch with many of them to this day. We've tried to get together for a couple of reunions outside of Athens. I won't tell you all the stories around that. But we've had a good time, and it all emanates because of the kindness and what you've taken to heart. I know others might have said it, and so I apologize if I'm repeating it, but I totally remember being in your class, and I'm telling others who are up and coming and want to get in the business, you've got to be loyal and you got to be able to write. And I'll never forget that. And I think about that when I'm interviewing people. And considering jobs in our own shop. And I just remember Doc Higgins, you're still on my shoulder and you're in my ear just thinking, are we doing the right thing here? And I just want you to know that no matter where we go, you're always with us. And I'm just so proud to be under your tree, so to speak. And I know it's one that's going to continue to grow, as Mike just said. You will always be with us. So enjoy this last class. I'm going to let the others speak, but thank you so much for all you've done for so many people in this industry.
One more, Pat. One more.
Hi, Doc. It's Jennifer Reynolds, one of the Canadian Canucks. Many, many years ago, I met you and Shirley, and Doc, you were my inspiration. You were my gateway to America. You still are. You said, yes, come to Athens, Ohio. That was my dream, to be in America, to work in America. And because of you, I am the person who I am today. I said, Doc, I really want to stay in America and do my internship. And he said, well, all of the other Canucks had to go home, find their own internship. I said, Doc, I really want to work in America. Would you help make my dream come true? And thank you, you did. I ended up going to Tulane University and then to Washington, met a best friend I still have, all because of you. And I wanted to take a moment just to say thank you and congratulations, because you are Athens, you are the sports administration program, and you are my incredible mentor for life. And I just wanted you to know that the impact that you've had on my life has allowed me to blossom, to become the person I am, to become fearless, and also to have the kind of integrity that you shared with me so much in the early days. And to all my classmates that are on the call, I wanted to say hi. We haven't been together like this in a long time. And Doc, because of you, you've regenerated the friendship that you created many, many years ago. So thank you. God bless you. And I look forward to seeing you and Shirley at some point. Thank you.
Thank you, Doc, Shirley. It's my privilege to be here. I get to be the last speaker, so I get to refute anything and everything said. I'll clear up a couple of things, a piece of housekeeping. Hamrick, it wasn't great investigative work to tie you to that party because it was at your apartment. But nonetheless, Doc put the pieces together. When you think about Ohio University, you think about Doc and Shirley. Dick Myers, thank you for clearing up the age-old question of where did Huey, Dewey, and Louie come from? 40 years I've wondered. Now the only question is which one was Huey, which one was Dewey, and which one was Louie. But that can remain a mystery for the ages. I don't think anybody who's been associated with this program can honestly say that they are where they are for any other reason than the influence that Doc Higgins and Shirley have had on their life and their career. There's no question that I say that there's no doubt in my mind that I would not have done the things that I've done over the last 40 years, reached the heights of whatever modicum of success someone wants to say that I had as a professional without the start. People often want to know what's important. What's important is integrity. What's important is loyalty. What's important is trust and respect. You know, I've had people come and say, I don't think I'll do very well because they don't like me. I don't care if they don't like you. They have to respect you. They have to trust you, and they have to be loyal to what you're trying to get done. And that was instilled in us at Ohio U at a very early stage in our career. I, over the last 40 years, have taken and stole more Doc Higgins isms. I don't know if that's proper grammar, but and used them effectively over the last 40 years. One of my favorites is we could have ham and eggs, provided we have ham, and that's assuming we have eggs, which means you just go at it and you do what you can do, and if you've got it all right, it'll all work out. So Doc, thank you. I've said on many occasions that not only did he lead many careers, but he befriended all of us along the way. There is seldom a conversation that goes on that is not equally about Pat O'Connor and Chuck Higgins as people and family men and Christians as it is about what we did as a sports. I can't believe I retired on 12/31 of 2020. I retired before this guy, and I hope you are able to enjoy your retirement as much as I have mine. So from the bottom of our hearts collectively, we want to thank you. And I have the privilege of introducing to not only our audience, and I got to tell you, this man's got juice, okay? Bernard Muir ditched a college president and a provost to get on camera to be with this guy. The patron saint of the program, Andy Dolich, figured out, and Dick Myers and Roger Cooper figured out technology to be here tonight. That's when you know you got juice. So Doc, on behalf of all of us, I would like to invite you to the podium and introduce to everyone, Dr. Charles Higgins.
Still around, and I was packing the other day, a couple weeks ago, and what could I find but this Donald Duck? Well, it's not Donald, it was, I won't tell you which one it was, still have the name tag on it.
So you know who is doing, you know which one's which.
I thought, I can't throw this out, so
No.
back it goes to the,
All right,
it's going with it.
come on, Doc. Come on up here.
How do you follow all that? But the things I don't know, you think of what was said and jot things down and just try to relate to them. But I was laughing about Huey, Dewey, and Louie, but the other one, of course, the good, bad, and the ugly. And I figured out who the good, the bad one was, and the ugly one.
No, I meant take it off.
Oh.
I was mostly.
Okay. But I think of all the great times I've had over the years, right up through this year, and being a part of a program like the Sports Ad, but really, I always say program is really the people involved, and that's what made it. And I just think back of all the years, the 50 years that I've had the opportunity to just be a part of so many people's lives and what they meant to Shirley and I, and it's something I'll never forget. Just and the love and just the togetherness that was present over the years, and never there's one day that I ever think it'll be a lousy day. Every day was a great day. And I think of all the enjoyment I had every time I'd go to the office and be surrounded by all the Sports Ad people and the phone calls I would get, the conventions I had the opportunity to be to visit, and just the opportunity just to meet up with alums and be a part of their lives continuous. And it's such an enjoyment on Shirley and my part that we think 50 years have gone by, but the closeness that has developed over the years, anywhere we go, it's like yesterday. And the fun and enjoyment of talking and reminiscing and that, but I just appreciate all the nice words, and I just had, I don't know, I could just go on and ramble, but I've just had such a great career, and the people make up everything, and I'm just so appreciative that I had the opportunity to come to Ohio University and to be a part of such a great program. But the idea is being a part of so many great people's lives. I'll cherish it, and it's something too that I'll repeat. I love Shirley, and I love every one of you, and will always love you. And just think back on so many great times and just the fun and enjoyment of being a part of your life. But we'll enjoy ourselves in retirement, but we'll never forget so many great people. Thanks an awful lot for the evening. It's been great. Thank you.
Thanks again. Doc, you have dinner plans right now, so I think the crew is going to be taking that. What's that over that?
Well, we got Doc here under the guise that this was really the last class. So I think there's some papers that people want to hand in to you, Doc. You know, it was the proverbial hook for what we're doing here tonight. So let's not forget your final papers. And I want to thank Ryan O'Connor for reaching out to all the distinguished alums. I want to thank the great help we got from Nikki Rush and Stefana Ibarra all semester long to help Doc and myself out with the technology side of it. I want to thank the students in this class as well as the MBA students. We've had just great camaraderie and togetherness and kindness for each other, and that's gotten us through a hell of a year. So thank you, Doc, and thanks everybody for being a part of this. You're the best. Love you, Doc.